5.1 is over ratios. A ratio is a fraction. If a problem says to give the ratio of two numbers, the ratio of 4 to 1 is the fraction 4 over 1. Don't simplify it into 4. You leave it as 4 to 1. Okay, if it's a ratio of 3 to 2, you would put 3 over 2. If it says to simplify, you would reduce, if you could, if it said 6 to 4. That would be 6 over 4. Simplified would be 3 to 2. Okay, but if it does not say to simplify, you leave it as this fraction. So make sure you see if the problem says to simplify or not to simplify. Okay, if a ratio of, let's see, you have a square here, and this is your width and this is your length. Say the width is 6 and the length is 2. If it says the width to length, you would do 6 to 2. If it said length to width, you would be 2 to 6 would be the answer. And then see if it says to simplify or not. Okay, that's just about all of the stuff without simplifying. If it does have one where it says to simplify, like 42 to 100. Say it was 42 over 100, you would divide by 2, which would give you 21 to 50. And that wouldn't reduce anymore, so that would be your answer. And that's pretty much all that you're going to need for 5.1. 5.2, you're using rates and unit prices. Okay, if you see something that says like miles per gallon, that's the rate of miles per gallon, or miles per hour. Okay, when you see the per, that means to divide. So if you were going to find miles per gallon, you would do how many miles. Like if you did 60 miles and it took 2 gallons, that would be 60 miles and it took 2 gallons. So you would do 60 miles divided by 2 gallons. So that would give you 30 miles per gallon. Okay, this is your unit rate when it's only got one unit on the bottom. So you do the top divided by the bottom to get the unit rate. This is a unit rate. Okay, if you were doing to find the unit price for like shampoo, and it said there was 14 fluid ounces and the price was $7. Okay, what you would want is the unit price. You would want to know how much did it cost for every unit, for every ounce. So you would do the cost divided by the fluid ounces. 7 divided by 14 is 0.5. So that would be 50 cents for every ounce. This is your unit rate. So if it's a cost, a unit rate that has a cost, make sure you put the cost on top. Okay, let's go to 5.3. Proportions. Okay, a proportion, if numbers are in proportion, like if the numbers 3 2 and 6 and 4 are proportional. That means 3 to 2 is equal to the fraction of 6 to 4. 3 to 2 is equal to 6 to 4. Those are proportional because this right here could reduce to 3/2. A way to see if they're proportional is you could multiply. 2 times 6 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. So it's seeing that those two cross products, because you're multiplying the products across, cross products are equal, then it's proportional. Okay, so anytime you have a fraction equals a fraction, they are proportional if that's equal. So if you have 5/10 and you have 7/8, to see if they're equal, just multiply across. 10 times 7, 70. 8 times 5 is 40. They're not equal. That's not proportional. But we're going to be working with numbers that are proportional. So to solve a proportion, if you have part of it and you need the rest of it, okay, let's take one of the ones out of the book. Number 10 says x over 45 equals 20 over 25. Okay, remembering that this times this has to equal this times this. So 45 times 20 has to equal 25 times your unknown number. 45 times 20 is 900. Okay, so you want to know 25 times what number will give you 900. So if you divide by 25, you'll find out what number. 25 times what is 900. So you could do that division. So it's 36 times. X is 36. So you're always going to multiply these two and then divide by this number right here. See, we multiplied these two and then divided by 25. So you don't have to show all of this part. Just show that you multiplied at these two, 900, and then divided by 25. So if you have the problem like 8 over 10 equals what over 5? Multiply these two, divide by 10. 8 times 5 is 40, divided by 10 is 4. So n is 4. And you're going to do the same thing with decimals and fractions. Let's do a fraction number. Number 48. 5 over 1/3 equals 3 over x. So multiply these two numbers and then divide by 5. So you do 3 times 1/3 divided by 5. 3 times 1/3 is 1. 1 divided by 5 is just 1/5. If it was a fraction here, give a fraction answer. If it was a decimal, you would give a decimal answer. Okay, the problems for the next section are word problems. So you're doing applications of proportions. So you're doing word problems that have proportions in them. When you do a proportion from a word problem, make sure you write what the top is going to be and what the bottom is going to be. Let's say there's a word problem in here. One of the examples said that a man's waist to hip ratio should be 0.9 or lower. His waist to his hip ratio. Waist number to hip number. 0.9 is 9/10, so that's waist to hip. So 9 to 10. Okay, it says what if his hip measurement is 40 inches? Where would we put the 40 inches? The hip measurement is 40. That's why you write this to the side. So you put 40 inches here. And now to find out what his waist should be, multiply these two numbers, divide by 10. So you got 360 divided by 10 gives you 36, and this was in inches, so his waist should be 36 inches. So when you write a word problem, look to see what the two things are that you're comparing, and use those numbers right there. Okay, let's do like number 5. It says gas mileage. It says a 2008 Volkswagen Beetle will travel 462 miles on 16.5 gallons of gas. So A says, how many gallons will it take to drive 1,650 miles from Pittsburgh to Albuquerque? So we have miles and we have gallons. You can decide where you want to put them. It won't matter if you put miles and gallons or gallons and miles, but you need to write down which one you're going to do so that you make sure and put the same. Like if you put miles right here, you want to make sure you put miles right here. Let's put 462 miles on 16.5 gallons. So we want to know how many gallons it will take to go 650 miles. So after you multiply the two numbers that are across, divide by the other one, you're going to get about 59 gallons. Okay, that's what it should come out to, approximately 59 gallons. It's not exact, but it's about that much. Okay, the B on that says how far can the car travel on 130 gallons? So if you do the same thing here, you're using 462 miles, 16.5 gallons. Now you're wanting to know how far it can go on this many gallons. So you need to put this number where the gallons is. Multiply the two across numbers, divide by the other one, and you should get 3,640 miles that it can be driven. So just make sure when you're doing all of the word problems to show what's on top and what's on bottom, then you'll make sure and place it in the right place. And that's all of the lecture for 5.1 through 5.4.